right, well, let's call the meeting to order while Tom's getting organized. I believe we probably don't have any public comment. Is there any public comment?
There is not.
Okay. Next thing, minutes from our April meeting. Tom has sent that out in advance, and I hope everyone had a chance to take a look. Are there any alterations, changes, deletions, additions? Hearing none, we'll place that on the record. And Tom, it looks like you have a busy summer.
It does. Yeah, we do. Give me 1 second. I think I could pull this up.
Yeah, no problem. We're kind of just blowing right through it here. There, here comes my other baby. I'll be off for just 1 second.
You got it. Bear with me, everybody. Are you able to see my screen? Anybody?
I'm not.
Not yet. Okay, hold on. Magic of live television here. Why won't this work?
All right, there's one less dog in this meeting. My son just took the dog outside.
Oh, that's not what you want.
It's a nice screen, though.
Yeah. I just had the meeting packet opened up with some extra files on my computer here, and it's, oh wait, is that it right there? No, that's not it. Oh, this is it. Okay. Why isn't it?
If it makes you feel any better, I have the same issue with screen sharing where things just tend to disappear.
Yeah, it's on a browser on my PC right now, and it's just not showing.
And it just refuses to come to the fore.
Yeah, there's plenty of other things here to show, but that one's not for some reason.
Well, and then it's probably the biggest technically challenged guy in depositions. I stopped using screen share. I send out exhibits in advance. You want reliability, you know.
That's a good point, Dave. Actually, not a bad point at all.
All right, can you all see it now?
Mm-hmm.
I can see it. Yep.
All right, perfect. I apologize for the delay. I thought I was all set before we started. So yeah, we've got a lot going on. The team's been busy. John, Katrin, everybody, and pretty much we're about 2 weeks away from a pool opening. So I just kind of, before we go public with all of this, and we're going public with it now, I wanted to give you guys a quick peek at the calendar for the summer, all the things that we have scheduled. The biggest thing coming up is that Touch a Truck event at Simsbury Farms Rink on Father's Day weekend. That last year had over 1,000 people. We were guessing 1,500, probably close to that this year. I just went and ordered 48 dozen donuts today, so that's a lot of donuts for that event. And we have bounce houses and police cars and fire truck apparatus and town vehicles. It's gonna be a blast. Literally a lot of fun on that one. And then we're doing the foam your dad on the pool deck. It's a foam party, so if your dad agrees, if the dad or parent agrees to get hit by the foam cannon, they get a free Dippin' Dots on Father's Day. So that should be a lot of fun. And then we have the annual 4th of July ice cream social. So I will hit you up now and again in June for anybody that would like to help us scoop ice cream and do whipped cream and toppings and things like that. We would love to have you all or as many members of the commission help us with that as possible. Wednesday, July 3rd starts at 6 o'clock. If you could be there just before 6, that would be perfect.
If I can jump in, Tom, guys, that is one of the easiest and yet enjoyable volunteer opportunities. People are excited to be there. When you see a kid walk up to Tom's variety of M&Ms and Hershey bars, and it brings a smile to your face. So if ever you wanted to think of the easiest thing to volunteer for, that's one of them.
Tom,
Thanks,
you can sign me up. You can sign me up.
Thank you. Yeah, and you get ice cream at the end, so you get something out of it too. And a great concert by the Simsbury Community Band. I did want to highlight, we're going to be doing at least 2 concerts on the Terrafield Green this summer. We've moved them from August to July because the Flower Bridge, where we held them last year, it will be closed for the renovation starting next week. So we're going to be doing a jazz concert on the green on July 10th. We're doing it's a rock cover band. It's actually a group of high school students from Simsbury and surrounding communities. 2 of the band members will actually live in Terrafil. So they were excited to perform. I actually came across them at a showcase event for people like myself and my colleagues from all over the state, and this group blew people away. They couldn't get people were booking dates left and right, and I went over and talked to the kids' parents and the kids and said we needed to have them this summer. So they're excited. We're excited to have them. We will possibly be doing a 3rd concert on Wednesday, July 24th. I was speaking to the Terrafield Green, the Terrafield Village Association President Sherry today about that. Possibly a movie on the green as well. A bunch of pool events throughout the summer. Dive-in movie again on Friday, August 9th. The Glow in the Dark event at Simsbury Farms. Golf course in September, but we will top everything off with the Saturday, August 24th event at Simsbury Farms and a summer concert bash. We're doing Soul Sound Review as our musical guest this year. If you've never seen them, they're fantastic. If you have, you know what I'm talking about. They will perform from roughly about 6 o'clock till about 8:30, 6:30 to 8:30, somewhere in there. We have fireworks over the golf course to finish the event again, and food trucks. We will have Grassroots there. We have our restaurant vendor there. We have Dippin' Dots, Doc Popcorn. I believe we have Andy's from Andy's Italian restaurant there again, and a couple more. So it will be face painter, bounce houses, all that stuff. It'll be a blast. So the staff has been busy. We're all excited to start the summer. While I have summer on my mind, just a reminder to everyone who's watching to buy your pool pass before May 31st to get the discount. The price does go up significantly after starting on June 1st. So if you haven't bought your pool pass yet, please do. Do it before then, www.simsburyrec.com. Any questions on special events or anything?
I
What's the
realize.
name of the, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just asking the name of the band.
But Soul Sound Review.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Tom, is now a good time to mention the sponsorship that Westminster has stepped up with?
It would be a great time. Would you like to do that?
No, I'll hand it to you unless you'd rather have me do it.
Sure. They're going to hear me talk for the whole meeting, Kelly. So go ahead.
Sure. So just a quick point out for everybody that through the combined efforts of Tom and his team and the Friends of Simsbury Farms, we are going to give a big shout out to Westminster for their community partnership sponsorship. And essentially what they're doing is stepping up to the plate as a member of the community, and they're sponsoring many of these events at the farms as a premier community sponsor. So big shout out to them, big thank you to them for their commitment to the town of Simsbury. And yeah,
that's great. Yeah, we're excited to have them on. You'll see some signage, with their, thanking them for their support around the facility. They have an ice rink board going up soon. We're great. It was a great meeting with them. They're excited to be with us, and we're excited to have them on board.
And I'll just reiterate, Tom, that they really wanted to make a commitment to being good neighbors in Simsbury. And I think that's something that sometimes we lose sight of. There's always, as in any relationship, there are moments where we might have a little tension, but I feel like they've really made an effort to be good neighbors, and just want to give them a shout for that.
Sure.
Do you know which events they're specifically sponsoring?
Well, that's up to Tom. That's
Okay.
Yeah, the first one is the Touch a Truck. They're going to be with us for that one. And the end of the summer event as well. And I don't have the other.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in and answer you, Diana, that they are more about the association with the events as opposed to sometimes they said Jeff Kennard said that they may not have folks available at the event itself, but they definitely wanted to be able to showcase their sponsorship so people know.
Absolutely. I just want to make sure that as we, even as we promote them, that we can give them credit for as events go along, making sure that we are recognizing them and thanking them. And if we need to do signage or whatever else, that the town is recognizing the partnership and grateful for Westminster for stepping up and helping with these events. So that was the reason why I was asking.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's great.
No, and then kudos to Tom and Kelly, and I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, let me know, Tom Cross.
That's right.
These folks did a great job. There was meetings that needed to be attended, and it wasn't more selling than it was just folks willing to take the time, sit down, listen to each other, and next thing you know, we have a community partnership. So
That's
great
fantastic.
job, guys.
And just so folks know, Dave and the rest of the team, the Friends of Simsbury Farms is a 501c3, and I guess the best parallel would be the Friends of Simsbury Library. It's a mechanism to allow for donations that come in and can be given, I believe, on a tax-free basis. That's kind of above my pay grade, but it's mimicked in a lot of ways with the Friends of Simsbury Library.
Yep.
Exactly right.
And then Tom, to you and your staff, especially John Tebow, I see all these pool events. There's no rest for the weary. Whether you're going to Monday beach blanket bingo or Friday's inflatable water slides or the hydro blaster. Good job keeping the calendar full. So,
Yeah, no, we're excited. We like to stay busy, and you've heard me say this 1,000 times. We're in the smile business, and people are smiling, we're doing a good job. We're doing a good job, and we know we're doing a good job. And
yeah,
I love
Dave, you like that? I quickly accidentally read that as hydro lobster, and I was very confused for a second.
No, if you haven't seen the Hydro Blaster, it's like it's like a bicycle pump with two balloons. There's two bicycle pumps and two balloons hooked up to it. And what the kids do is they race, and I think it's filled with it's water too. So instead of pumping air into the balloons, they're pumping up the balloons with water, and you're trying to make the other guy's balloon explode before yours does. So that's kind of like a relay race, or kind of a race to get the other guy wet. So it's a lot of fun. The kids get into it. Kids and adults get into it. Moving on to something that you probably didn't think you'd ever see on our agenda, and I thought I'd share it with you. If you didn't see the town's news release last week, we actually, I participated in it, and it was with the town manager's office, and Sally and Don Rieger from the Farmington, I'm gonna always forget what the name is, Lower Farmington River and Salmon Brook Wild and Scenic Committee, who brought this to our attention. And they actually we're working with a research scientist. I don't know if you're aware that there's been a blight on the hemlock trees, really nationwide, but taking place in the Northeast. And if you have hemlocks on your property, the blight is easy to spot. And I'll show you a picture in just a second. You can kind of look underneath the branch, and you'll see these little white puffballs, I guess, little white dots. And that's the woolly adelgid, and adelgid. That's how you say it, adelgid. It's the woolly adelgid, and they will basically kill a hemlock over time. And what these lady beetles do is the only thing they eat in the entire world is the woolly adelgid. And,
nice.
So you release them in areas where you have this issue, and they take care of it for you. And basically, when they run out of food, they will die off as well. And they're very, very small. They're little black bugs, really about the size of a pinhead, not much bigger. And so what we did is they were doing this in some of the areas, Stratton Brook State Park. I personally met them at Town Forest Park and going into the trail into the Ethel Walker Woods, and that's where I participated in releasing the beetles. But I know they did some other spots on some land trust property as well. And the town manager came out. Someone else, Franklin from the town manager's office, was there. Dr. Tia, the research scientist, and Don and Sally and I. It was very interesting, and I learned a lot. I'm not going to read this entire news release to you, but I did include it in your packet if you'd like to see it, like to go over it. And here, if you can see these little white dots that I'm pointing to with my cursor here on this picture, that's the woolly adelgid. I'll get it sooner or later. And this is the Dr. Chia and Franklin kind of putting the releasing. I think they were tying it up there. And then this is the crew who was out there that day: town manager, Franklin, Sally Rieger, Don Rieger, and myself. Great learning experience. The doctor was excited to be able to show off the project and excited that the town took an interest in sharing it with the public, to kind of bring awareness to it as well. This was grant funded by the Wild and Scenic Committee, so I want to thank them if they're watching, and thank all those who helped them out in their work. Any questions on that? I thought this was a great conservation project. And, it's one of those things that we hope to call attention to. The town manager is taking an interest in these type of projects, and we hope to be able to show off more of these type of things in the coming years.
Yeah, Tom, if you ever, need a volunteer or help, Dan just completed the year-long State of Connecticut Deep and Yukon Woodland Management Program. He loves that stuff.
Oh, cool. All right.
I see a volunteer right now.
I will give him a ring next time.
Okay.
So that's good to know. That it was an interesting project. It was interesting. It all came together very quickly over a couple of weeks, and like I said, that the Dr. Chia was a real character, and she took it. She was excited that we were excited about it, and So we got off easy. Franklin and I and the town manager were only there for about 2 hours. The rest of these hardworking volunteers, I think, stayed the entire day going to all these different sites, and doing the release. And you actually paint some of them on with a paintbrush onto the branches.
Wow.
So it is time consuming in some ways. But it was an interesting conversation. It's one of those days where you weren't sitting behind a desk, and it's my favorite parts are getting out and into the woods and into the parks and things like that. So interesting. And she'll follow up with us next year to see how things are going. And these lady beetles actually work their way up the tree. You can't see my hands right now, but they work their way up the tree. So they really, and then they spread out as they'll go to the other trees in the area that are infested. And again, they just keep going until there's no more food. So pretty cool.
Very nice partnership. Nice.
Yeah. Next on the budget, I just want to give you a quick budget update. Obviously, if you haven't heard, your town budget passed pretty overwhelmingly. All parts of the budget passed overwhelmingly on the last referendum on May, I think it was May 10th, last Friday. Or was it last Friday? A couple of Fridays ago, I apologize. And so we're excited about that. As you know, we had a number of projects and initiatives in there. Kind of the highlight for me being the design money for the splash pad project at Memorial Park. So the plan for that is, I'm still talking to some of my colleagues in other towns who've been recently going through similar projects. We're going to identify a few firms that are capable of doing this work, and then we'll bring them in for interviews, and basically hiring a consultant firm to evaluate our facility and help us design a splash pad. This is where hopefully when I come back to you and next time we talk in June, I'll be asking for a few of you to be kind of a volunteer committee with that. And then we'll do some public forums, hopefully over the summer and early fall. And then come back in December with 3 possible designs of a splash pad and what the site could look like with the restrooms renovated and that kind of thing. And we'll have a budget number for those projects, 3 designs, and then hopefully start going through the grant process and next budget process with the Board of Selectmen for construction. So any questions on the budget or that project? Will
the budget process be in the 2024, 2025 budget?
So we're in, as of July 1st, we're in the fiscal year 25 budget. So that's where the design money is. And I also should mention that we're about to hopefully next week, sign a contract for the golf course architect to start moving forward with the cart path planning and drainage work. So that work, hopefully construction will take place over the winter next year. But we will ask for, hopefully be considered for an appropriation for some of the splash pad construction money in the fiscal year 26 budget.
Okay.
When we did speak about it this year, that the town is hopeful that we'll be able to get a grant for a significant part of the money needed to build that project. But until we get that design number, and that's the other part of getting the design is we need that design to go out to some of these grants, like
right.
the small town economic assistance program really wants to see a shovel-ready project, so you have
Right.
to have, or you,
And that, as Tom said, that was a huge part of us moving it forward, is we needed the design plan so that we could apply for these grants. And we're really hoping a lot of, we get a portion of it in the grant money, but it is on our purview to look at for the next budget cycle.
Yep.
So
Good.
so moving forward on that, and yeah, a lot of other things. I mean, it was a very well thought out budget, well thought out process with the budget. There was a lot of discussion. I mean, many hours of discussion, as all of you know, and especially Diana knows. So I think it came to a good place, and the voters, there was a lot of discussion, but the voters ultimately supported it pretty overwhelmingly. So I'm happy about that, and I'm sure Diana's happy about not having to go back and do more. So moving on as we go here, just following up on something from last month about the Simsbury Farms entry sign. So I in discussions with this, I'm showing you on your screen right now a little bit more current draft of it. The color's off because I think I had to scan it, or it's not showing right up on my screen. But this is kind of a near final draft. We did change the apple. We changed the wording at the top. Again, the number 100 will be on the side vertically facing the road. And as far as the size issue that we spoke about last time, I think I spoke to many of you about the limits. If we put that dome on the top, that arch on the top, it was affecting the square footage of the sign and what was allowable. I have spoken to the zoning people, and we're in a good place with that. We won't have to shrink our sign because the existing sign was bigger than what the new sign would have been. So in a nutshell, we're kind of being grandfathered in on that a little bit because of our existing sign was already at 43 square feet. So we're in good shape with that. I'm hoping maybe in July the sign might get installed. They're telling us if we approve it next week, sometime late next week, it could be about 6 to 8 weeks out from there, depending on how busy the company is. So sometime this summer that sign will go up, hopefully before the end of the pool season. Any questions on that? I don't want to spend too much time.
No, sign looks great.
Yeah, something we already talked about. We're excited. I mean, if you've driven by that old one, that one that's currently there, it's in really rough shape.
It's in bad shape.
It's not on the agenda, but I just wanted to highlight some things that are going on at the golf course, maintenance side of things, and in the parks. The Friends of Simsbury Farms were very generous over the winter in supplying 2 of the water bottle fillers for the golf course. Those are going to be hopefully installed next week. They're pouring the concrete tomorrow for those pads, and I've given you the locations where those will be.
Hey, Tom.
Yes.
So I was out at the course the other day, and a question came up as I was promoting all these things. Someone made mention that the water flavor on the fountain between 3 and 4, just when they use it, they said, "Boy, are you putting filters in?" Do these dispensers have some kind of purifier or filter?
The new ones do, I believe. Yes. I don't know about the existing one, but I'll ask Brian to check on that. I wasn't here when those were installed. The one on 3 and 4, that the men's club bought a few years ago, or they bought the chillers for those. But let me check on that. That's the first I've heard of it. So maybe Brian.
No, and same thing here, but this guy went out of his way to make sure I knew that, oh, I hope you guys are going to be either doing better water or cleaning it up before it comes out. So
yeah, our water, I believe, is on city water and all the water fountains. So the water should be pretty consistent.
Get over it. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
The Friends of Simsbury Farms have funded a project to put yardage markers on the new sprinkler heads that we installed last fall. So the crew will be out next week measuring the yardage for those to get those ordered. They are in the process of beautifying the golf course with all the mulch around the trees and the tee signs right now. So that's being done. I know the men's club volunteers have been up there doing some planting flowers and that kind of thing. So I thank them for their efforts. And kind of an interesting thing with the new irrigation system being turned on, we also wanted to make sure that it hasn't been done in a while, but there's an intake pump at the bottom of the number 3 pond. And our golf superintendent's probably overcautious, but I certainly see where his perspective is. There's a pipe that sucks in all the water from the bottom of the pond, but it's also got a lot of silt in the bottom of that pond. So we actually had paid a scuba diver a few weeks ago to come in and clean out around that, to make sure that there's no debris at the bottom of that intake pipe, and actually make it so we should be good for a couple of years and not have to worry about this again. Cleaning it around, kind of clean it around and propped it a little bit. So so if you saw a scuba diver, in Simsbury Farms pond, you weren't imagining it. So we didn't get any calls that day, and it's. I wish I had a picture to throw up here. They've also been top dressing greens with sand every couple of weeks, and the golf course is just in phenomenal shape for the weather we've had, and it's getting better every day. Interesting parks maintenance note that I wanted to share with you, and Diana's aware of it. We've had the drainage. The Simsbury Meadows field's always been kind of known as a wet field. That field holds water fairly long for a good few days after a rainstorm or big rain event, which we've had a lot of lately. But this past spring, the side of the field closest to Iron Horse Boulevard, that whole side of the field has been particularly wet. So we've been investigating to see if there was a break in our irrigation lines, or if one of the aquarium lines that runs along Iron Horse had broken. After going through all of those investigative processes and kind of ruling all those out, we've actually found that the drainage pipes that go underneath the field are not viable at this point. They've failed, whether they've collapsed or they've gotten clogged. Whatever the issue is, we'll know when we take it out. They aren't working right now. The field's not draining on that side, and with the concert season, graduation, all of these things coming up very quickly, we need to have it repaired so that you're able to move those large speakers and light towers out onto the field and not get vehicles stuck, and also so people can enter and exit from that side of the field where the gazebo is. As you know, that's one of the entrances and exits. It's also one of the safety exits if there had to be an evacuation of the field. So we will be digging that system up, installing a new one. We met with the Board of Finance today to get an emergency appropriation. We've let the Board of Selectmen know as well, and they will be approving, I believe, that appropriation as well. The work is going to start next week, so you may see some heavy equipment down on the field, but our goal is to get that all taken care of before the graduation ceremony in a couple of weeks.
How much we're talking to repair it?
We will have a final number next week, but the appropriation is up to $50,000. We hope we don't need all of that, but that's what the appropriation request has come.
Got to be done.
What's that?
Needs to be done.
It does, yeah. I mean, we would risk the possibility of canceling some events because you just couldn't get the equipment on the field or safely get people off the field for large events. So yes, it does. It's one of those things that drainage. Those drainage pipes have been in the ground 25 years. So everything's got a lifespan, and apparently 25 years is for that piece of pipe there. So it's about 400 feet along that side of the field that needs to be cleaned out. And we're also going to add while we're doing this work, we're going to add another catch basin or two to basically hopefully avoid the situation again. So, but I just wanted to share that with you. And I apologize it wasn't on the agenda, but it kind of is happening quickly yesterday and today. So, last but not least, master plan updates. Again, I'm not going to go through every single one, but I've been trying to do this for you the last few months as we did last year. So everything in red is an update to one of the numbered recommendations from our master plan consultants. With the budget being approved, some of these items are always being addressed in our budget and we're working on. Something very interesting that I know Diana and some of you will take an interest in is we will be improving the Weetog playground. That's scheduled for hopefully later this year. But an interesting item came up. I was approached by a family who lives over in that part of town. They have a child with some special needs, and his older sister, who's a more typical child, loves the playground, loves the swings, and she asked if it would be possible if they could donate an ADA swing for that playground. And I let her know that it is something that we've been considering doing. We're going to do it as part of the project. We did put, if you remember a few years ago, the Friends of Simsbury Farms bought us an expression swing for the swing at Simsbury Farms. And that's a toddler one where you actually put the toddler in the bucket seat and you can swing while watching your child's face and, you know, watching the expression on their face. So and rather than pushing them from behind, you get to kind of enjoy the experience with them. And that's what I was hoping to do at Weetog Park and eventually get these to all the parks where we have swing sets. So what we had a great conversation. We exchanged some emails, and what we're going to be putting in over there is, if you just bear with me 1 second, is an ADA accessible expression swing. And this isn't the exact color, but this gives you an idea what it looks like. It's a seat, a bucket type seat. It will have a harness on it so that the child with special needs can be safely secured into the seat. And a parent or sibling will sit on this on the other harness and enjoy the experience with them. And I'll tell you, this family was overwhelmed that we were going to be able to do this, and you know, they can be able to hopefully enjoy it later in the summer. I'll leave the description up for just 1 second so you can see what it says.
What a great idea.
Yeah, and this is a quick look at how the harness. It's kind of like a 5-point harness there.
Yeah, I love this. I love it.
So I was hoping you would. But my hope is that as we put the new playground over there, you know, we'll do what we can to make it as accessible as possible as we renovate all these playgrounds. And yeah, I thought this was a great thing. It just came together over the last couple of weeks. Again, something we've been thinking about. It would have been put off until the playscape was redone. But given the situation with this child and this family, I thought it was something we could do right away. And I know they were thrilled. I was, you know, it was a feel-good moment for me to be able to do it for them and for the town. This is what we should be doing for our residents, and it's kind of one of those little things that does mean a lot.
Mhm.
Is that something we could put in others? Which one is this one going in?
This one's going to Weetog Park.
Okay.
My hope is to put another expression swing at West Mountain Park. That may happen later this year. We have the one at Simsbury Farms that the Friends of Simsbury Farms donated, and when we do, if we're able to put swings in at Terriffill Park as part of that project, we'll have them there as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Tom, and it would be great to, especially if we are getting some support from the family and if they're willing, whether it be the patch or whatever local news source, just some recognition of, one Park and Rec identifying and being willing to work with the community to make things more accessible. This is a great one.
Yeah, it is.
It's a value added. Yeah.
Oh yeah, value added for sure. And one of the nice things was I let the sister of the special needs, I let the family pick the color of the swing too. So they love that. The mother said I made her family summer. So that was it was nice to hear that.
That's awesome.
So we'll hopefully have that.
You're making me proud, Tom. You're making me proud.
I ordered it today. We expect, they're saying 6 to 8 weeks on the delivery, and we'll get it up as soon as it comes in, hopefully.
Tom, what's the cost on those again? How much does this cost?
This was about $3,500.
Wow.
3,500. Okay.
Jesus.
That includes the harness. The harness was an add-on accessory. So
okay.
So about $3,500 for this particular site.
Money well spent.
I agree. So, and it's gonna be taken out of the funds that in the last, as you know, the last few budgets, we now have a playground renovation fund that the town's been kicking into every year. So we can take care, we can upgrade these playgrounds, or repair, upgrade, maintain them appropriately. And so I think this is an appropriate use of those funds.
Well done.
Thank you. That's everything I have, unless somebody has a question. I'm hoping next month we will be meeting at Memorial Park. The pool will be open at that point. We'll be able to walk around the deck, walk through the bathhouse, and assuming that we have good weather when we schedule the meeting that week.
No, and everyone it's certainly understandable. Tom contacted Kelly and I early in the week You all saw the weather earlier in the day. Earlier in the week, the weather was supposed to be bad right through the evening hours. So, sorry we can't get together, but I thought, just a chance to still hold the meeting and not get just standing there with umbrellas that are lightning rods was probably the better decision. Tom or Kelly, can we just have a real brief update for the members about your meeting or the meeting about the long-term vision group that got together on Tuesday?
Sure, I'll give a brief overview, and Kelly can certainly fill in any gaps. So it was a good meeting. It was attended by a representative from the Simsbury Farms men's club. Another Chris Boswell from the commission was there. We invited Sarah, John and Karen from the Pro Shop were there. Obviously, Kelly, our good friend Jerry Wetchen was also in attendance. Heather Getz from the Board of Selectmen and oh my God, Wendy Maxtutis from the Board of Selectmen was also there as well. As you know, Wendy and Heather both utilize the golf course quite a bit as well, and as well as some of their family members. We invited Sarah Nielsen from the Simsbury Main Street Partnership, was kind enough to come speak to the group about the current economic climate in town, in our area, I should say, the Farmington Valley, for the restaurant industry, hospitality industry. And she was great in explaining where things are, where she saw successes, where she sees certain groups struggling, where she sees those trends going the next couple of years as it relates to that industry and places like ours in particular. I don't want to get into deep dive detail about the conversation, but it was good. The group had a chance to ask a lot of questions. They'll be meeting probably every 6 weeks or so, monthly to 6 weeks over the next 6 months, to learn more about again, our facility, what can be done to improve it, come up with a plan that we believe would be successful for, we're talking 5 to 10 years. We're not talking next summer or the summer after. This is to evaluate what kind of facility do we have, what kind of facility do the regulars our regular users of the Simsbury Farms golf course and the community in general, what kind of facility would be desirable up there to meet the needs of the golfing public and the community, realizing that there are some limitations with the building right now, what could be done to improve it. We're currently a seasonal facility. Are there possibilities? What are the opportunities for a year-round facility? And being realistic in these things as well. I'm not saying that it needs to be a year-round facility, but really taking a hard look at would something like that be needed or successful there. Kelly, do you want to add anything to what I just recapped?
I'm sure everybody is hoping and praying that I say as little as possible. So I will do just that. Other than to say, Tom, thank you for running a very productive and very efficient meeting. And honestly, Tom, I thought that it was one of the best uses of meeting time that I've ever been a part of. That 60 minutes got more accomplished than you can imagine. If you can just picture 60 minutes of great collaboration, lots of different perspectives, which was fine. And I really felt like it moved us forward, both in where we're going to go with this committee, right? We didn't necessarily articulate anything yet, but we pretty clearly put together an idea of how we want to do it. And I thought that the membership, the people that were part of the committee, all had great perspectives. So well done. And I look forward to putting this together.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was an interesting hour, for that hour it flew by and I learned a lot. Sarah's fantastic. I learned a lot from her.
Agreed.
And she was very candid and she just has so many connections.
Yeah. Oh, Tom, there was one last thing, and that I just wanted to make sure, and this is reflected in the minutes. The committee was not an indictment on the existing vendor. I'm not sure if you said that, but this was
not. So thank you.
Yeah. This was definitely not an indictment, nor was there anything that was intended to be criticism of the existing vendor. This is vision setting as opposed to Monday morning quarterbacking.
Yeah.
Again, long-term planning.
Long-term plan, exactly. And as we complete projects at the golf course, the infrastructure projects, on the course infrastructure projects, there will be opportunities if we continue on the revenue trend we are now to be able to possibly do some renovations to that facility, to the clubhouse and restaurant facility. So, it's best to start planning for those ahead of time and get those on these expenses that we be paying for out of the town's, what's known as the Parks and Recreation Fund, formerly the Simsbury Farms Fund. There still have to be in the town's capital plan. The Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance still review those, even though they're not coming from tax dollars. It's an allocation of town funds. So, to plan appropriately, we do a 6-year plan. You've heard me say this many times, for everything from trucks to splash pads, mowers and playgrounds. This is no different, and we just need, it's best to start planning now for what we want to do. Again, 5, 6, 7 years from now, what this place could look like and be an enhancement. I think I said something at the start of the meeting the other day, and that the restaurant should be a complimentary service to what our unbelievable golf course is. It should not, the restaurant should not be a drag on the facility or on the golf operation up there. So we need to be able to position that facility to best support that goal, and that's what I hope we can get to. So
Perfect.
all right.
All right. If that then gets us to the end of the agenda, does anyone else have any new business? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Here we go. Well, folks, thank you. I look forward to our next meeting, which should be outdoors, all of us together.